An extraordinary event happened in Russia on July 7th. Russian President Vladimir Putin fired the Minister of Transportation, Roman Starovoyt. 4 hours later, his body was found in a car near his house. Right from the moment Starovoyt's death was announced, oddities started appearing all over. Coming from the government officials, from the investigators, from the media, from the senators, even from the press secretary Vladimir Putin. And literally minutes after the former minister's death was announced, second odd death occurred. One of the minister's subordinates, a 42-year-old, healthy Minister of Transportation official, died right at his office. In this video, I want to share two messages with you. First message, I would like to investigate minister's death closely and show you that there are more questions than answers. And the second message, which is much more important. I think this is the most important event that's happened so far this summer, perhaps so far this year. It will have fatal impact on Russian political system, the vertical of power. And I would like to explore that. Howdy everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not find here any propaganda, BS or lies. Instead, you will find plenty of truth, common sense, and logic. Some emotions too, because I am a human being after all. First, let's talk of what's happened. It'll be very brief, the first part of the message. Well, first of all, who was Roman Starovoyt? He worked at St. Petersburg city government at a mid-level position some 20 years ago, where he met the Rothenberg brothers, Putin's closest childhood friends. Then Roman Starovoyt's career took off. He became the deputy head of Rosavtodor in 2008. He remained the deputy for 4 years. He played a major role in modernizing Russia's federal road network, improving connectivity, logistics across provinces. In 2012, he became the head of Rosavtodor. He made one step towards the top. As the head of the federal Rosavtodor, which is the Federal Road Highway Agency, he oversaw massive infrastructure projects, including the upgrades to major highways, for example, M4, Moscow to the Black Sea, and quite a few bridges in Siberia and in the Russians' Far East. And his crown jewel project was, of course, the Crimea Bridge. Putin personally oversaw the construction. In 2018, I guess as a part of the reward for successful construction, Starovoyt was made deputy minister of transportation of Russia. He briefly served as deputy minister, and he moved to very important position in Russia's vertical of power. He became the governor of Kursk province. Well, the position of a governor is a big deal. It's quite a milestone in a career of anyone who is in the vertical of power. So he was made the governor of Kursk province, which borders Ukraine, of course, in 2018, and he remained the governor for 6 years, and he was fairly successful in Putin's system. So his last job was the Minister of Transportation of Russia. He became the minister in May, and of last year, 24, and he was fired in 2025. Now, Starovoyt was the top among the top in Putin's Russia. Young, smart, loyal. There are just a few dozen of people like Starovoyt in the country, in the system that Putin heads. And this is what happened to Starovoyt. Now, this is the part where I told you there are more questions than answers. The clouds started thickening above Starovoyt after the Ukrainian armed forces invaded Kursk province and held it for 9 months. What a slap in the face and on Putin's face that was. And then, of course, the scapegoats got to be found, right? The arrests followed. And one of the arrests was Starovoyt's deputy, while Starovoyt was the governor. Former deputy was arrested for corruption, charged with corruption, and he testified against Starovoyt. Basically, this is a personal story I told a few times here. The main charge was theft while constructing defense facilities in Kursk province. And when I left Russia in 2022, I had a telephone call from a person I know in Russia. And the person was in a rush asking me if I could provide contacts or perhaps I could supply some concrete structures to Kursk. Pyramids about 6 feet tall. And the person was so excited about that, saying, well, we can make a lot of money. That's, they're going to sell it at this much. And in reality, it's going to be costing us so much less to procure. And then we're going to split the difference, the high margin with some people who provide us with a contract. So he offered me to become a part of this contract, and I refused because it's just against my principles. I don't want to do anything in Russia with Russia, and certainly I don't want to be a part of a shady scheme. So I told them that he was calling the wrong person, and I basically stopped talking to that man. Okay, that's exactly what Starovoyt is being charged with right now. There's a huge investigation, and there's a lot of theft happened at that project. So Starovoyt was fired by Putin's personal order on July 7th, and just hours after, he was found dead in his car. And this is where it gets very odd. Now, listen to this. First messages appeared of the firing appeared in the media a little after 9 a.m. The first report of Starovoyt's death appeared around 2 p.m. It said Starovoyt took his life, shot himself. 15 minutes later, literally at the same time, just minutes later, one of our Russian senators, Andrei Kartapolov, made an official statement that Starovoyt died a long time ago. Well, quite some time ago. He said, way in the past. Then reports started coming that Starovoyt shot himself in his car. At first it was his house, and then they changed the story. It was his car. And then the news reports started coming in that Starovoyt shot himself in the bushes, not too far from the car. So we have 3 different stories, 3 different official versions. Well, I guess one is official, but we heard 3 versions of this event. Then Dmitry Peskov made a statement that everyone who knew Starovoyt is shocked and terrified by his death. And I'm sure that Peskov is also very terrified because he's in the category of Starovoyt. He's not in the category of Putin. He's somewhere where Starovoyt is. And if it could happen to Starovoyt, it could happen to him. Then there were reports started coming in that Starovoyt shot himself 2 days prior, in the night from the 5th to the 6th. That information coincided with what Kartapolov said. But according to the website of the Ministry of Transportation, Starovoyt held a meeting with the deputies, and it was filmed and uploaded to the website, and it happened on the 6th. It looks like Starovoyt held that meeting being dead. Then there has been, there was no statement about Starovoyt's death from Vladimir Putin. Instead, Vladimir Putin introduced the new Minister of Transportation. And that new Minister of Transportation immediately went to the parliament and, well, I'm not saying in the same day, but, the Russian government is usually a bit slow. So according to the standards of Russian government, it was like speed of